Have you ever been told to eat blueberries for better memory, heart health, and aging? You're absolutely right to trust them. They are a true superfood. But what if I told you that the health benefits of blueberries could be entirely neutralized or even turn toxic just by mixing them with three common foods? This is especially important if you're over the age of 60, when your body becomes more sensitive to how foods interact. Today, we're diving into what science says about these dangerous food combinations and how to protect your health. When you think about the most powerful foods on earth, the blueberry stands among the top. It's not flashy, not oversized, not exotic. It's simple. Yet within that tiny blue skin lies a pharmacopoeia of compounds that actively work with your body to defend against aging, cognitive decline, cardiovascular disease, and inflammation. It's what many researchers call a functional fruit, one that does far more than provide calories or basic nutrition. It actively engages with your cells, your blood vessels, your brain, and for those over the age of 60, these natural compounds are even more important. Blueberries are especially rich in a class of natural chemicals known as anthocyanins. These are what give the blueberry its deep dark hue, ranging from indigo to almost purple-black. But these pigments don't just offer color, they serve as powerful antioxidants that neutralize harmful molecules called free radicals. When left unchecked, free radicals create oxidative stress in the body. Oxidative stress is like rusting from the inside out. Over time, this process contributes to DNA damage, weakens the integrity of cells, and accelerates aging-related conditions like Alzheimer's, arthritis, and heart disease. A patient once told me about her grandmother, who was sharp as a tack well into her 90s. Every morning, without fail, she'd pick a small bowl of wild blueberries from her backyard bush in Maine. She never skipped a day. Decades later, science caught up with what that wise woman intuitively knew: blueberries protect the brain. In human studies, regular consumption of blueberries has been linked to improved memory, delayed cognitive aging, and enhanced neural communication. What's more fascinating is that the anthocyanins in blueberries are capable of crossing the blood-brain barrier. That means they're not just floating through your bloodstream, they're reaching your neurons, altering how your brain fires, and even encouraging the growth of new neural connections. And it doesn't stop at the brain. Blueberries have a profound effect on the vascular system. Inside your body is a vast network of blood vessels, over 100,000 kilometers worth, serving every organ, every cell. As you age, those vessels can stiffen, leading to high blood pressure and poor circulation. Blueberries help relax and widen those vessels, improving blood flow and reducing arterial stiffness. This is partly due to their role in boosting nitric oxide, a compound that signals your vessels to relax and dilate. In fact, in small clinical trials, adults who consumed just 1 cup of blueberries daily showed measurable improvements in blood pressure within 2 months. But while blueberries are powerful on their own, their benefits are not invincible. Certain foods, when combined with blueberries, can blunt or even reverse these healing effects. It's a surprising reality, especially for people who carefully build a healthy diet. The idea that one food could cancel out another's benefits is counterintuitive, but it's a real biochemical interaction. One of the most common mistakes people make is combining blueberries with dairy, especially milk. For years, people have poured blueberries into their cereal bowls or blended them into yogurt smoothies, thinking they're doing something healthy. And while these meals might taste good and feel nourishing, there's a hidden interaction at the molecular level. Milk contains a protein called casein. When anthocyanins from blueberries meet casein, they form bonds. These bonds make the anthocyanins less bioavailable, which means your body can't absorb them as effectively. Think of it like putting a brilliant light behind a foggy glass window. You still get some glow, but the full brightness is blocked. That's what's happening to the antioxidants in your blueberries when they're mixed with milk. Now, this doesn't mean you should eliminate all dairy from your diet. But when your goal is to reap the full spectrum of benefits from blueberries, especially for your heart and brain, it's best to enjoy them away from dairy. Eat them on their own, or pair them with plant-based sources like oats, flax, or almonds. Doing so allows their antioxidants to enter your bloodstream unobstructed, triggering the cellular defense systems that help keep inflammation and oxidative damage at bay. The second interaction that can sabotage the power of blueberries is refined sugar. This is particularly concerning because many blueberry products on the market today, jams, muffins, cereals, and even healthy bars, contain added sugar. Sugar is more than just empty calories. It acts as an inflammatory agent. It spikes blood glucose levels rapidly, forcing your body to release a surge of insulin. Over time, these sugar spikes damage blood vessels, stress the pancreas, and increase the risk of metabolic syndrome. In the presence of refined sugar, the body enters a state of metabolic chaos. And here's where it becomes a double-edged sword. When you combine sugar with blueberries, you don't get a neutral result. You get a biochemical conflict. The antioxidants in the blueberries are trying to calm inflammation while the sugar is stoking the fire. Imagine firefighters trying to douse flames with water while someone keeps pouring gasoline on the blaze. Studies in older adults have shown that diets high in refined sugar correlate with a faster decline in cognitive function. The hippocampus, which is the memory center of the brain, is particularly sensitive to this kind of dietary inflammation. And while blueberries can protect and even regenerate hippocampal neurons, that protective effect is diminished when sugar floods the system. I once spoke with a man in his late 60s who loved blueberry muffins. He ate them daily, convinced they were helping his memory. But when we looked closer, we saw that the muffins were packed with white flour, margarine, and high fructose corn syrup. His intentions were good, but the execution was working against him. After switching to fresh blueberries on whole grain toast with almond butter, his energy improved, his fasting glucose came down, and his memory test scores actually improved within 6 months. There's also a deeper point to consider. As we age, the body becomes less forgiving. What you could tolerate at 40 doesn't sit the same at 65. The gut microbiome shifts, digestion slows, cellular regeneration becomes less efficient. Every food choice matters more. That's why understanding these interactions isn't just an academic exercise, it's a roadmap to better aging. Blueberries are incredible, but they are not magic pills. Their benefits depend not only on how often you eat them, but also on what you eat them with. You can amplify their effects or smother them. The choice is in your hands. So if you're adding blueberries to your diet for memory support, heart protection, or healthy aging, let them shine. Eat them raw or gently cooked and keep them away from sugar-laden desserts and dairy-heavy meals. Let the anthocyanins do what nature designed them to do. Travel through your bloodstream, cross into your brain, soothe your vessels, and protect your cells. There's an old saying, the dose makes the poison. But in this case, it's the pairing that makes the difference. Two healthful items, when miscombined, can result in diminished returns. And at this stage in life, when each meal is an opportunity to protect your future, we want those returns to be as full and vibrant as the color of a fresh blueberry in the morning light. There's something deeply reassuring about a handful of blueberries. Whether scattered over breakfast oats or enjoyed fresh out of the palm, they offer a promise of health, of clarity, of aging gracefully. But as with all things in nutrition, the story doesn't end with what you eat. It continues with how you eat it and with what you eat it. Among the most misunderstood combinations in the world of healthy eating is the pairing of blueberries with dairy. For decades, marketing and habit have told us that yogurt and blueberries make a perfect pair. It's a common breakfast across cultures, especially among health-conscious individuals. But if you peer into the biochemistry of this combination, something surprising emerges. That innocent-looking mix may be sabotaging the very benefits you're seeking. Milk, yogurt, and other dairy products contain proteins known as casein and whey. These are complex molecules that play a role in delivering amino acids and building tissues. But they also have a lesser-known side. They interact with the polyphenols in plant foods. When you eat blueberries with milk or dairy-based products, a binding reaction occurs between the casein proteins and the anthocyanins, the very antioxidants that give blueberries their potent protective qualities. These bonds make the anthocyanins less accessible to your gut, reducing absorption and dulling the fruit's antioxidant activity. In simple terms, what this means is that you can eat the same amount of blueberries, but absorb far fewer of their benefits if you mix them with dairy. For someone over 60, this matters even more. Aging naturally brings changes to the gut lining, a slowdown in enzyme activity, and shifts in how nutrients are transported across the intestinal wall. So when absorption is compromised to begin with, adding a roadblock like casein makes it even harder to benefit from the fruit. I remember an older couple from Vermont, both in their early 70s. Every morning they made a smoothie with blueberries, bananas, and skim milk. They told me it was their longevity shake, but the husband had noticed his blood pressure wasn't improving, even though he'd added the smoothie to help his heart. When we switched the milk for unsweetened almond milk and encouraged him to eat some blueberries raw on the side, instead, his blood pressure readings began to shift noticeably. Over 3 months, his systolic dropped by 10 points. Nothing else changed, just the removal of dairy from that critical moment when his body needed those anthocyanins most. Food synergy can work both ways. Some combinations elevate health benefits. Others, like this one, reduce them. And the irony is that both blueberries and dairy individually can offer health advantages. But together, they may not be greater than the sum of their parts. In fact, they can be less. It's a reminder that the way we eat down to the pairings we choose can influence whether a nutrient is activated or muted. Now consider something far more aggressive than dairy refined sugar. Blueberries by nature are mildly sweet. Their natural sugars are balanced with fiber and antioxidants, making them metabolically gentle. But in a world driven by taste, blueberries often find themselves trapped in sugar-laden recipes, muffins, cobblers, jam, sweetened yogurts, breakfast cereals. The list is endless. And when sugar enters the picture, the health profile of blueberries undergoes a sharp turn. Refined sugar is a powerful pro-inflammatory agent. It causes blood sugar to spike rapidly, leads to insulin surges, and can trigger a cascade of metabolic reactions that fuel oxidative stress. When sugar and blueberries are consumed together, they don't neutralize each other. Instead, they engage in a biochemical tug of war. The antioxidants try to calm inflammation. The sugar accelerates it. A woman in her mid-60s once shared with me her fondness for blueberry pancakes drenched in syrup. It was her weekend tradition, one that brought back memories of Sunday breakfast with her grandchildren. She believed the blueberries made it healthy, but when we reviewed her post-meal glucose readings, they told a different story. Her blood sugar would spike for hours, leaving her fatigued and foggy. We didn't remove her blueberries. We removed the white flour, the syrup, and helped her create a new tradition. Almond flour pancakes, lightly sweetened with cinnamon and topped with whole blueberries. Her energy improved, so did her hemoglobin A1C. The issue isn't just about calories. It's about the inflammatory environment created in the body. Chronic inflammation is a silent contributor to many of the conditions that seniors fear the most: heart disease, dementia, joint pain, and impaired immune function. Blueberries help reduce this inflammation. But refined sugar feeds it. It's like trying to water a plant while someone else is pulling out its roots. What makes the interaction between sugar and blueberries especially problematic for older adults is the body's declining ability to regulate glucose efficiently. By the time someone reaches 60, insulin sensitivity often begins to decline. That means sugar lingers in the bloodstream longer, causing more damage. Meanwhile, the body's natural repair mechanisms, such as those triggered by antioxidants, may be slower or less robust. In this context, every bite becomes more meaningful. There's also the matter of microbiota, the trillions of bacteria in your gut that influence everything from metabolism to mood. Blueberries help feed the good bacteria. They act as a prebiotic, nourishing beneficial microbes that reduce inflammation and support immune balance. Sugar, however, does the opposite. It feeds the wrong kinds of bacteria, ones that promote inflammation, disrupt gut lining integrity, and even impair cognitive function through what's now called the gut-brain axis. This isn't theory. It's been seen in stool sample studies, brain scans, and inflammatory marker tests. People who eat a lot of sugar often have a microbiome profile that promotes inflammation and insulin resistance. When sugar is eaten alongside blueberries, it compromises one of the berry's key functions, nurturing the gut environment that protects the brain, the heart, and the immune system. An old saying in medicine is, first, do no harm. This can apply to food as well. When we reach for a healthy food like blueberries, our intention is to heal, to strengthen. But if we unknowingly combine it with harmful ingredients, like sugar, we reverse that effort. That's not healing. That's confusion at the cellular level. There's a deeper lesson in all of this. Aging well is not about avoiding disease. It's about creating the conditions in which health can thrive. Food plays a central role. And not just what you eat, but how those foods interact. Blueberries are small, but their impact is mighty if we give them the right conditions. Imagine your cells as small workers inside a factory. When you eat blueberries, you're delivering tools, instructions, and reinforcement to help them repair damage, improve communication, and defend against invaders. But if those blueberries are coated in sugar or bound up with dairy proteins, it's like sending those workers defective tools or complicated instructions they can't understand. The intention is there, but the outcome is lost. This is why it matters. This is why those over 60 especially should be mindful of food combinations. The stakes are higher. The system is more sensitive. The opportunity for healing is still vast, but it requires more care. No one food is a miracle, but some foods come close. Blueberries are among them. Let's allow them to work freely without interference. Let them move through the bloodstream, activate the enzymes, calm the inflammation, signal the genes. And when we do pair them, let's choose allies, foods that support and elevate their effects, not ones that cancel them out. Because in the end, what we put on our plate is not just nourishment, it's instruction, it's chemistry. And when we understand that, we turn every meal into a chance for renewal. There's a quiet revolution happening in the world of health, and it starts with rediscovering the healing power of food. Blueberries have long been a crown jewel in this movement, a fruit so densely packed with bioactive compounds that it has become a symbol of nutritional excellence. But even the most powerful foods can lose their potency when combined with ingredients that interfere with their function. One of the most overlooked culprits in this regard is the modern breakfast cereal. Brightly colored boxes, bold health claims, and the promise of convenience have made processed cereals a staple in many households. For adults over 60, these cereals can feel nostalgic, a quick, familiar breakfast that pairs easily with milk and fruit. And often, blueberries are tossed in with the intention of making a processed meal feel a little more wholesome. But what many don't realize is that the interaction between blueberries and the preservatives in cereals may compromise the very benefits you're trying to gain. Preservatives such as BHA and BHT, commonly used in boxed cereals, are designed to extend shelf life by preventing fats in the product from becoming rancid. But when these chemical agents enter the digestive system, they do more than stabilize food. They interact with biological pathways in the body, especially those related to detoxification and cellular signaling. These compounds have been shown to influence enzymes in the liver and may interfere with how the body processes antioxidants. Blueberries are rich in flavonoids and polyphenols, compounds that need to be absorbed and transported efficiently to do their job. They help repair oxidative stress, promote endothelial function, and support cellular communication. But in the presence of synthetic preservatives, their availability is compromised. It's as if you've brought in skilled repair workers only to have the door locked from the inside. The antioxidants are present, but blocked from action. A man in his late 60s once shared that he added blueberries to his morning brand cereal every day. He believed he was making a smart choice for his cholesterol and digestion. But when we looked at the ingredient list, we saw it contained not only refined grains, but also synthetic coloring agents, preservatives, and artificial flavorings. When he switched to steel, cut oats, and fresh blueberries, nothing more, he noticed not only better digestion, but clearer thinking throughout the day. He didn't change the blueberries, he just removed the interference. Another hidden issue lies in the cereal's structure itself. Most commercial cereals are made from refined grains that have been stripped of their fiber and nutrients, then re-enriched artificially. This re-enrichment process adds back isolated nutrients like iron or folic acid, but in synthetic forms that do not behave the same way as those found in whole foods. And when synthetic additives and antioxidants meet in the gut, they may compete for absorption or disrupt the environment that allows for nutrient uptake. This isn't just about preservatives or artificial nutrients. It's about how all of these elements come together in a meal that looks healthy but isn't. Seniors in particular need to be cautious. At this stage in life, the intestinal lining becomes more permeable, the efficiency of detoxification pathways declines, and the immune system responds differently to chemical triggers. A younger body might tolerate the additive load of processed cereal. A mature body is more sensitive and more vulnerable. This brings us to a larger conversation, the gut. Inside every person is a vast and dynamic ecosystem, trillions of bacteria that make up the gut microbiota. These microorganisms are essential for digestion, immune balance, hormone regulation, and even brain function. Blueberries serve as a food source for beneficial bacteria. Their polyphenols nourish microbes that produce short-chain fatty acids, which reduce inflammation and promote gut integrity. But with age, this delicate ecosystem begins to shift. By the time someone reaches 60, their gut composition often changes. The diversity of beneficial bacteria may decline. The lining of the gut becomes thinner. Enzymatic activity decreases. This means that nutrients, even from healthy foods like blueberries, may not be absorbed as efficiently. But it also means that harmful compounds from preservatives, artificial sweeteners, or emulsifiers can pass through more easily and cause inflammation in areas far beyond the digestive tract. The relationship between the gut and the rest of the body is complex. Inflammation in the gut can lead to inflammation in the brain. Damage to gut lining can lead to leaky gut syndrome, where unwanted particles enter the bloodstream and provoke an immune response. And when this happens, the protective benefits of foods like blueberries may not reach their full potential, not because the berries aren't working, but because the terrain they enter is compromised. There's a phrase that often appears in ancient healing systems: "You are not what you eat, you are what you absorb." This distinction becomes more important with each passing decade. At 20, the body compensates. At 40, it adapts. But by 60, the margin narrows. Every food you consume becomes a message to the body, either one that promotes healing or one that adds confusion. And the gut is where that message is first interpreted. A woman I once worked with had just turned 70. She prided herself on her diet, organic produce, lean proteins, and blueberries every morning with her granola. But she complained of bloating, fatigue, and skin flare-ups. Her granola, upon review, was filled with sugar alcohols, preservatives, and soy-based fillers. Once she switched to a plain, rolled oat mix with nuts, seeds, and fresh fruit, no packaging, no chemicals, her symptoms began to improve. Her gut wasn't rejecting the blueberries. It was overwhelmed by everything that came with them. There's something deeply empowering in realizing that even the smallest food choices can influence large systems in the body. Blueberries can help reduce cognitive decline, support heart function, and promote cellular longevity, but only when they are allowed to work unopposed. When consumed in a body where the gut is calm and the food environment is clean, their effects are measurable. But when preservatives and artificial ingredients enter the mix, they may block this potential. Modern food has created a paradox. We have access to incredible ingredients like blueberries that can enhance life at every stage, but they're often wrapped in layers of processing that neutralize their benefit. And for those over 60, the risk is greater. Your body is not just more sensitive, it's more reliant on nourishment that heals, not just sustains. This doesn't mean meals need to be restrictive or joyless. Quite the opposite. Simplicity is often the gateway to pleasure. A bowl of warm oats topped with fresh blueberries and a sprinkle of walnuts is not only delicious, it supports vascular health, cognitive function, and digestive ease. It nourishes without interference. It heals without complication. In the end, understanding how blueberries interact with your environment is not about fear. It's about clarity. It's about honoring the intelligence of your body and choosing foods that work with it, not against it. It's recognizing that every bite is a chance to tell your cells, your gut, your brain, I'm here to support you. I'm here to nourish you. Blueberries are more than just fruit. They are a signal of vitality, of defense, of renewal. But that signal needs a clear pathway, no interference, no static, just the clean, direct message of nature allowed to do its work. Blueberries are one of nature's greatest gifts. But like any nutrient-rich food, they deserve the right companions. If you're over 60, it's especially important to avoid milk and dairy-based smoothies, refined sugars and syrups, processed breakfast cereals. Instead, eat blueberries fresh or frozen, paired with whole foods like oats, nuts, or seeds. That way, you unlock their full potential, helping you stay sharp, energized, and healthy as you age. Your food is your ally, and with small changes, you can continue to nourish your body the way it was meant to be.